Philippe is a senior battery expert and simulation expert for Saft's solid-state battery program. Philippe is the project coordinator of DemoBase. Dr. Philippe Desprez graduated from NSIC, it's the National High School for Chemical Engineering, in 1991. We're getting close and close to 1984, with a PhD in process engineering. He was research engineer for battery electrochemistry at Alcatel-Lucent from 1997 to 1999, and joined Saft in 1999 to start work on batteries and supercapacitor systems. He led Saft Research Battery Management and Modeling Group for 12 years, and has been granted more than 16 patent families, and is Saft senior expert. Philippe, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready, and thank you for the very nice introduction.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. So hello, good morning to everybody. Thanks a lot to
there you are.
To Jens and Horst, and especially for AVL and Horst, who organized this remote meeting. So thanks a lot for that. So I will, as it said, I am a project manager of DemoBase, and so I will share my presentation. Just one moment, so that we can go through. Just tell me if it's okay for you.
So when I said, were you ready, and you said yes, it was not quite the truth.
So now I think it's ready.
Okay.
So you see my presentation now. Yes, so I present you DemoBase. I want to thank, of course, the European Commission for the grant. All these grants allow us to have a research cross activities through Europe.
Are we supposed to be seeing your presentation? Sorry to interrupt. We can't see the presentation.
Ah, sorry. So I do it again.
That could be better. There we go.
Okay, so we can go.
That's it, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so I come back on the thanks for the European Commission, because we have a lot of activity and research. We research through Europe, which allow partners to work together, and it is the possibility to do it is allowed by the European project. So thanks for that. I will start my presentation by small market information. We have a very deep introduction on that, but okay, I do one more focusing on batteries. If you can see lithium-ion market, because what is very impressive, it is a growth, so it is something which has to be sustained and to be sustainable, as it has been presented. And we can see where we was in 2015. Consumer market was the larger one, with 21 gigawatt hours. Market volume, and then you have automotive, and then you have smaller markets. Globally speaking, it was 40 gigawatt hours global worldwide market. When you look in 2025, it is based on internal analysis, but all are converged on these values. Now, automotive becomes from far the largest market for lithium-ion batteries. If you look at the total volume, you multiply by 10 in 10 years. So it's very huge as an increase of market for lithium-ion batteries. If you look at the growth of the different markets, the consumer market grows by a growth on 10%, automotive by a growth of 36%, it's very huge. And then you have industrial, ESS, and a global growth expected at 26%. Now, if you look at the decomposition, I would say by mainland, you can have a look in 2020. The largest market and the largest manufacturing is from Asia, especially from China. Asia is about 80% of the market share. But what is very, very interesting is that if you look at the announcement beyond 2020, you have as much, or we can see more announcements of production in Europe than you have in APAC and than you have in China. So that means that we have going to see a big push of lithium-ion battery manufacturing in Europe, and it is a very good news. And so you can see that some expectation of production at 500 gigawatt per year in the coming years. I go in a third slide, which with a first slide from Avicen, which shows a repartition, the spread between the different mainlands. So you can see that China is really the leading country for production of lithium-ion batteries. You have Korea, you have Japan, you have other APAC countries which make this part of the world the leaders from far for the production of lithium-ion batteries. You have mentioned in the map Europe and the USA. I think it is an honor from Avicen to mention these countries because today, if you look at the value, Europe is below 1% for the production, USA at about 2%. That means it's very minor. But the very good news is that because of the boom of the EV market, of the BEV market in Europe, which is expected, which is arriving, we need production in Europe for the supply chain of the cars. The supply chain cannot accept too long distance to have the batteries for the production of electrical cars. So what is coming is production in Europe of lithium-ion batteries. It is led, of course, by Asiatic competitors. We can mention Samsung, we can mention other competitors. But the most interesting point is that we have, I would say, European-based companies which are appearing, which are created to tackle this market and to make production. I can mention, of course, Northvolt, and we can mention also what was mentioned by Avicen as Saft Total PSA, but it is the latest news. You maybe know you have the creation of by Group Total and PSA of automotive cell company ACC, which is a joint venture dedicated to manufacture of batteries in Europe. So it is an announcement, a press release from early September this year. And what is interesting, if you are looking also deeper in the press release, it is the estimation of the market share. You can see that the estimation of the market share is 400 gigawatt-hours by 2030. That means that it is a worldwide production we observe, I would say, in 2025 will be double and will be done in Europe. So it's very urgent as a growth of demand of lithium-ion batteries. So some more information for ACC, what is expected. It is at the end with initial capacity of 8 gigawatt to reach 48 gigawatt-hours, so with both sites in France and in Germany. So you can see that with Northvolt, with this new announcement, we have European-based company, and I'm sure we will have other European-based companies. So it is very, very interesting for our, you would say, technical point of view and for all the engineers to be involved in these adventures. Let's go back to DEMOBASE. We have a small part of this global adventure, but all the projects are important. DEMOBASE means design and modeling for improved safety and efficiency. Its contribution of the European Commission is about 7 million euros. For the different partners, you can see partners in France, in Germany, in Italy, in Sweden, so well spread in Europe. To go in details, so Saft, battery maker, Accuec, a German company dealing with dismantling and recycling of batteries. Fraunhofer EESB, which is of course a well-known research center here for battery management, especially. Ineris in France, dealing with battery safety testing. Infineon, of course, in Germany, making many, I would say, microelectronics parts. especially for the automotive. Modelon, it is a Swedish SME developing software solutions for system integration. IFP-IN, a French institute dealing with, I would say, battery system, vehicle system, and vehicle management, and included battery topic. Jülich in Germany, well known for its research capability. IFEVS, an Italian SME, which you will see later on, but which has a proposal for vehicle production and which makes its own vehicles, full electric. KES, which is a key partner for the project management. And MA, Magneto Automotive, which is well-known worldwide, global actors for sheet metal forming of metal automotive component. So you can see, of course, the people, the team in Munich, not so warm for the weather. And in Brussels, we appreciate. So I put two pictures because we enjoy. It is also what is interesting. It's to meet together. Of course, it was before the COVID. I think we will come back to these days. And then, of course, many commitments and many works by the partners to fulfill the different objectives. To have a global view of DemoBase, it is, of course, based on massive digitalization, which is the core topic of the call. We link this massive digitalization also to measuring equipment, because we need this information, and also to counterpart. That means that we validate and we check the fidelity of the models with counterparts, and to see how it can support the development of hardwares. To close the loop, we integrate recycling to be sure, not to be outside the real world, because a key point of all this development will be also to include the dismantling and recycling to close the loop of vehicle development. So with this project structure, the objectives are, of course, cost reduction. It is very key to exist, to be competitive. Safety, but it is a must, of course. It is not a wish. But the philosophy is to do it at no additional cost or very low one, so to have a very well control of this activity and efficiency of the vehicle. I start by what I will call proposals. We have two proposals in our project. The first one will be deeply presented this afternoon at 2 p.m. session. It is, I take the word of Pietro Perlo, I would say a revolutionary vehicle. It is not a vehicle, okay, it is a vehicle on the road, no problem on that. But the point is that the vehicle under development is developed with very low cost tubular structure, so you have no investment for stamping. You have many innovation embedded in this vehicle, which will be provided. So I would say it is a proposal to see the vehicles another way. We have another proposals by a second SME in the project. It is what we can call democratization of simulation activities. So we will see it is an open cloud-based solution. Modelon is a SME, so it provides the liberty to go very fast to new development, to new architecture for sharing the information, developing the model. So it will be presented at the morning session, and you will see also Modelon proposal for software architecture. Now we go in details into some results of the project. First result and the first objective of the project was to have a fair operational concept with high efficiency vehicles. So what has been demonstrated today by simulation, and it will be validated on the vehicle on test wing bench, is to have a high demo-based IFEV's EV efficiency. It is done by simulation, and we achieve 80 watt-hour per kilometers on WLTC2 reference cycles. So you can see how efficient is the vehicle, because it is very a low energy consumption per kilometer. What we did also, it is an architecture which allow to have fail operational. That means that even using even in case of abuse events of I would say of cell failure inside the battery, the vehicle can go this mission. And it is very important if we see, I would say, in the future, to have fleets which can have no, I would say, no stop of operation. So we don't think that we will have failure, in the vehicle. We are very confident on all the parts, including the electronics, including power electronics on cell and so on. But nevertheless, if it is the case, we did an architecture with parallelization to allow the missions to be go on. And what we did also is to check by simulation that the power and the energy was enough to have, I would say, normal standard behavior of the vehicle, even in case of branch failure. So it is what you can see on the table. So the two cycles, reference cycles, WLTC2 and 3.1. You can see the range, the consumption. So the range, I would say, is about 200 kilometers. It is a M1 type vehicle, and it is a city one, so 200 kilometers. You can see the consumption at 80 watt-hour per kilometer and about 90 according to WLTC 3.1. And you can see also that we don't expect too much consumption increase. We expect only a range reduction in terms of branch failure, and we double check also, I would say, all the performances of the vehicles in terms of failure. So all this simulation was done on AMESIM test bench by IFPEN, using, of course, information provided by partners and especially by IFEVs. Another point we investigate and we provide results, it is extensive characterization and simulation of safety. Here it is related, I would say, to the battery pack. So we know that, okay, production of cells are very robust. We don't expect to have failure, but we have to consider that how the battery will behave if some internal, external events leads to a thermal runaway. And here I present you an internal short circuit. How will be the behavior of the vehicle on the battery pack? So to do that, we develop specific cells to be able to ignitate the phenomena. We did by Ineris, so Saft did the cell, of course, and by Ineris we have the characterization of the behavior of the cell in case of thermal runaway. So you have, of course, the energy release, but it takes into account the composition of the gases, because you can have toxicity. Then you go through simulation activity. It was very, I would say, front end. That means it is a topic quite open, quite new. So we push simulation activities by many partners. You can see here results from Saft, from IFPEN, from Ineris, to have different angles and to use different tools, 3D simulation, I would say 1D, 0D simulation, and I would say a gas dispersion specific software. So we compare the results, and here I show you that we manage with a specific design of the battery system to avoid cell-to-cell propagation. Here it is done by simulation, and it has been validated by test. And what we also observe here, it is the capability to have an estimate of gas dispersion, gas ignition. It will be detailed by Ineris at the 2 p.m. session, but we see that here we have still room I would say, of investigation. The first room, I would say, is on improvement. The first room can be to use solid-state batteries. Okay, so we will have less questions, but nevertheless, we can have some polymers and some gases, but it can reduce the issue. And the second point is to have a management of this gas in the vehicles to avoid any explosion, any, I would say, global vehicle fire, which can be very severe for the people who are inside the vehicle. We go also to safety. Safety is a key point of the project, of course, for advanced components for cost reduction and safety improvements. And here, I want like to mention, it will be presented by Willem at 2 p.m. session, the semiconductor switch. So, of course, it is a technical challenge, but not only because it deals with regulation due to safety, it deals with maturity. So it is an open, I would say, an open domain, which is led by Infineon. Of course, I could put here, but it is completely developed using simulations, and it will be detailed. And the point is to have this global view on how we can introduce this semiconductor switch to have a smaller power electronics compartment inside the vehicles, and I hope at the end of the day to lower the cost compared to technical and electrotechnical mechanical switch. To go further, some results here which will be not presented today, but we have a general publication coming soon. Do not hesitate to go in the Demobase website so that we will advertise when it will be available, and you will have details on all the activities. I want to mention cost reduction. Especially what we did is a simulation of recycling efficiency, what is also quite important to close the loop. It has been mentioned that we have to close the loop, that we need to have the same tools, simulation tools, to assess the dismantling and recycling efficiency. And what we can see, what has been highlighted, is that debundling of the battery, I would say, architecture, you can have sharp difference for dismantling efficiency. So it's something to take into account, because you will see the results, I don't know, in 8 or 10 years, but maybe too late. But architecture of the battery, how it is integrated, battery packs, cells are integrated, have a major impact on the dismantling activity. So we have some results for the best practice for dismantling, and also an open question, which is interesting also to be tackled later on, is at vehicle shop dismantling level. We see that today it's not maybe very easy to analyze what is the state of the battery. Is it known? Is the shop dismantling the dismantling shop has the information available to have, then to speak about second life, to speak about recycling, to speak about safe recycling. So it is something also very important. For development time, fast integration of new cells. Fast integration of new cells is quite important, for cost reduction, because you have to take opportunities of cost reduction of given materials, of given raw materials, to be competitive. But the counterparts of the cell. It is that testing is very long to be able to qualify a cell and to be able to guarantee the cell. So this trade-off has to be moved to reduce this qualification time, so that to faster the introduction of new technology for cost, for performances, for safety. What has been done, and will be detailed in the publication, it's quite technical, but nevertheless, we have an activity on battery gene characterization and edging model. It uses advanced techniques, and what is quite interesting is that all the derivatives techniques, and so on, have been used with a negative, including silicium type materials. So we introduce, I would say, the project the coming, the Gen 3B, we can call it like that, it is a general wording, the Gen 3B chemistry, so that to have already some guidelines to be able to have a fast testing of this new chemistry. What has been done is a seamless process from electrochemical model to BMS. So electrochemical model were done on the COMSOL. It can be done by Battery Design Studio, by other software. But what is important, it is the process which has been very fluid, on which also integrate several partners. It was not done in-house by one partner, but they managed very easily to move, I would say, the models, results of the models, black box on the models, because of course it cannot be supplied as an open box. But all this process, all these challenges has been done, I would say, without too much issue, without bottlenecks. What has been done is also neural network for battery management. And of course, it is fed by models. It's difficult to feed, I would say, all AI methodology by test, because it is consuming on tens of thousands of results to be able to create your model. So it is, of course, based on models, and it is very efficient, and has been done also with no specific drawbacks. So that means that this process exists. And at the end, all this, I would say, innovation or new processes have been embedded in the Fox BMS platform. So to conclude, do not hesitate to go on our website. And it was a pleasure also to collaborate with Johnson Horst. We have additional, I would say, projects. So it was very interesting to exchange on the different topics. Thank you. And even if the days are not so good, I'm sure that we still have a promising future. Especially, I think you are convinced now on I would say, all about electrification on the battery type vehicles. Thanks.
Thank you, Philippe, for your insights. There's a couple of questions here. I'll go through them quickly because we're approaching the coffee break. Jürgen asks, on safety, what is the overall role of the semiconductor switch in safety or reliability? For example, go ahead.
Yes, for safety, it is the possibility to switch off a battery much faster. That means you know that it is like we switch from milliseconds to microseconds to switch off a battery. So in case of some events, it can be very safer to protect very fastly a battery, and it can be done by the microelectronic type component.
Okay, I think Jürgen was asking, because I didn't read out the second part of the question. He says, for example, what is its portion of the overall failure rate of the battery compared to other failure sources? I'm not sure what he's asking. Do you understand it?
Yes, I can understand.
Okay.
What we say for a battery, I don't give a figure on a million, but I would say that it is more reliable than most of the, I would say, the power electronics component and so on. That means that the reliability of a battery is very high. And then what you have to, when I say that, I would say on the cell part. But then you have, I would say, a system, because a battery is a battery system. So you have to take care when you add other components to keep this very high reliability, and of course to cover some weaknesses you can have from the cells. But the reliability, I don't give you figures, can be found. But it is really very, very high for a battery point of view.
Okay, let's move on to a question from Alain. Could the safety models replace a part of the safety tests on real cells? How much testing time could be saved?
Yes, it is a point. So the point is not to replace, but it is not to perform, blind with no vision of the results of the safety test. So the point is to design for safety, to use model to have the conception of the safe battery, and then when you make the test, because you need to make the test, you are confident about the positive response of the test. That means that it avoids you a lot of loop. And you know that safety test can be done at the end of the loop. When you make a safety test at pack level, you need already a pack. It is not at the beginning of the project. So it is really to be able not to hope to have good results, but to make all the engineering so that when you make your test, you are very confident of the positive results you will get.
Okay. Philippe, thank you very much for helping us to understand the context of the DemoBase project.